these types of songs can be a little bit scary, or they can just be hard to understand, and so when people know the story behind them, it helps make it a little bit, makes more sense. And you know, I think it's pretty obvious that we're not your everyday Christian band, and I think that's pretty cool. But you know, sometimes people can be a little bit mean, and they just don't always understand it, and it was hard because a lot of my experience with church was just tied in with hurt, or with exclusion or judgment. And you know, I struggled really bad with my mental health growing up, and I felt like church was the place you were supposed to go to get help for that, and unfortunately that just wasn't really an option for me. And a few years ago, God started to shift some things in my life, and I wasn't quite ready for them to be shifted. And man, it's always awesome when God moves in your life, but sometimes it can be really hard. And for me, there was a lot of confusion, and there was a lot of loss and a lot of grief I had to process. And for somebody who was already struggling and really without a community, it was very heavy, and it got to be really overwhelming. And you know, I thought that if I just took myself out of the equation, at least the pain would go away. But I made a split-second decision to stay, and my life has become so much more beautiful on the other side of that pain. You know, if I would have given up, I never would have gotten to marry my husband. I never would have gotten a chance to play in a band with some of my best friends. I never would have gotten a chance to meet all of you here tonight.
Amen.
And you know, I was being medicated for my depression up until that point, and I always wanted, if it was possible, to not have to take that, but I just didn't know what my life would look without that. And for a long time I thought it made me less of a person. So if any of you are here tonight, believe that, I promise you that's a lie. If you have to take medicine, I promise you that doesn't make you any less of a person. But you know, I always wanted to try if it was possible, and it just never was an option for me until it had to be, because my doctor stopped responding. And there was just nothing I could do to reach out to them. I had tried everything. I had tried all the different places you could reach out to a doctor, and there was just no answer. And so in a moment of desperation, I had to call out to God and ask if He would heal me. Because I had tried to do it myself. I had tried to trust other people to fix me. I tried to do whatever I could to try and just band-aid the problem, and nothing had worked. And I had to have a hard conversation with God, because I would understand if He didn't fix me, you know, because I had run from Him and I had tried to do it by myself, and I had made Him feel like He wasn't a priority. And so it was hard, but I told Him I would understand. But man, God is so good and so gracious that He put my brain back together way better than I could have. And it's awesome because I don't even have to take medication anymore. He's healed my mind. And I'm not going to pretend like I know everybody's stories here today. You know, maybe your story looks like mine, maybe it doesn't. And you know, maybe you don't even know God, or maybe you have a complicated relationship with Him. But please, just let me be the first person. If nobody else has gotten through to you today, let me be somebody to tell you that you are not alone, that you are not a mistake, that your life has so much value, and you deserve to give yourself a fighting chance to see the beautiful things that can come into your life on the other side of your pain. And man, this God, this Jesus that I am talking about is so real, and His love for you is so real. So thank you for letting me share a bit of my story with you guys. This song we're going to play is a song called Can You Fix Me, and it's about that time in my life. You know, it might be a little bit loud, but again, I promise you we love Jesus, so we hope you guys like it.